Hey Neil, thank you so much for joining us on this Orca social chat there. How are you today?
I'm good, Ben. How are you?
Excellent to hear. I'm very well, thank you. Listen, like for a couple of reasons, we really believe here at Orca Social that social media plays a crucial role in the operations of any B2B company, really, right? And Mack Trucks certainly proves that point. Until we get into the details on how you do all of that and the keys to your success, would you mind quickly introducing yourself and your company?
Sure. So my name is Neil Talbert, Director of Marketing Communications for Mack Trucks. I've been with Mack going on 3.5 years now, and Mack is a 116-year-old truck manufacturing company. All of our trucks are built here in America, so it's a very proud made in the USA and has been, from day one. I'm responsible for marketing communication. So all of our internal and external communication, all of our advertising, if you will, social media, print and digital, and sales tools to our dealerships.
I took a quick look across the main presences that you have, and I found it quite interesting to see that as a B2B brand, you got around 140,000 fans on Facebook, and altogether only like 30,000 on Twitter and LinkedIn. Is the biggest audience necessarily also the most relevant one?
We have a very good community, and I don't know which one you could necessarily claim is more relevant. We're very proud of the audience that we've built on Facebook, which is our largest, but we do have a very active driver base on Twitter and very engaged. So, those guys are highly relevant because they're, the ones driving the truck. Arguably, a lot of those are, could influence the trucks that they drive and the brand of truck that they drive. We grew our audience organically, and that to me has been the key to all of it. We're not going to go out and, try to purchase fans. We want people to follow Mack because they are interested in Mack and they want to follow Mack. That's been our angle and our approach at growing our audiences, and the engagement is reflected in that organic growth within social.
The big topics nowadays seem to be all around user-generated content, virtual reality, or live streaming. Do you use any of those technologies yet?
Yeah, we just launched a very exciting virtual reality campaign, and we had product updates. We have our M-Drive heavy-duty transmission that we just released with new 13 and 14 speed gearing in it. A challenge that we have when those products are coming online, there's a period of time when there aren't as many out in the market they're not in a lot of hands, are not available at dealerships quite right at the launch. So our challenge was, how do we get people to experience that product? So we defaulted to being the first Class 8 trucking manufacturer to actually provide that virtual reality experience and take you on a ride in a virtual world. And the response has been very, very exciting and very, very positive.
Now, looking a little bit more at those campaigns and how they really work out for you, you said, for example, this VR one, right, was a very positive one. And I've also seen something about the Big M social campaign that actually outperformed the email campaign in terms of conversion rates, right? So I've seen you achieved 36% conversion rate on a pure social campaign. Can you give us more insight on that, how that works for you?
We do some listening out through social, and we listen for, conversations about Mack and customers that are running Mack product and that the product's performing well for. And that's kind of how it came about with Big M. So we went down and set up a customer success story, went to interview Mike. He was very willing to talk about the results that he gets from the truck and what that equated to in dollars at the end of the day for his business. And that was a first. It's, to me, way more powerful when someone says, yes, we do run this Mack product and we are getting these results, and those results equate to this dollar amount at the end of the month or at the end of the year. So I think it just really drove the performance of that campaign and getting people to respond to it, and which led to the numbers and the conversion rates that you're speaking of.
Excellent. That's great. That's great. And I mean, if that helps your own customers to better understand how value can be added to the trucks and when they purchase one, can you also let our listeners know how all of this, what you do on social, actually helps you and your sales efforts? So saying like, are your sales guys using social technologies for their sales efforts in terms of social selling? And can you relate all of this back to actual sales figures as well?
We have been able to see folks appear within our sales channel solely from Facebook activity or from Twitter activity that has led to a lead that we would generate from that and pass over to a dealer, and that result in the sale of a truck.
Who would have thought that you can sell a truck on Facebook?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. And we feel like we're just getting started. So we're learning a lot. There's still a lot to do. We don't do it perfect yet. We know over time we'll get better and better at it as well. So
you do have some tools and technology in place to underpin your strategy there from a technology standpoint?
We've been very into Oracle, started with Eloqua as our prospect and marketing automation tool, just to be able to email prospects and to be able to communicate with them. We decided to reach out and take the Oracle SRM tool for social relationship management and start to pull that activity into that prospect picture. And with the two married together, that's where we started to see, hey, this person wasn't in our database until we posted this on Facebook, and we could see that they then hit that Facebook link, ended up on a landing page or in that Big M story, filled out the form to want to learn more. That gets passed over to a dealer. And that's where it's still a little bit manual for us. The challenge being that a lot of the dealers, some will have a CRM, some won't. Some are bigger, some are small, some more technically advanced. So we're working on some things internally to kind of connect all those dots and to be able to track what happens with all those leads as they are passed out to our network.
Let's leave marketing and sales and all of that a little bit behind. You talked about the passion and also like the proudness and all of that sort of pride that's behind the brand, right? Mm-hmm. What other effects and advantages do you see from social media onto your branding for Mack in general?
There's a lot of good material out there. One of our horn videos that we ran last year really sparked that emotional connection with, not just Mack, but also just a driver. And, from a childhood experience into growing up to want to drive a truck. And we had folks then tell their story back to us through our Tumblr page. And so it was just really neat to get stories from all over the world, all walks of life. A lot of them, weren't necessarily drivers. A lot of them were a mother's memory of having her kids in the car, going down the highway. So when you go out and kind of solicit for those stories, it's fun to see them come back and see people take the time to engage with the brand. It's exciting. It's been phenomenal so far.
And that's probably something that you couldn't have achieved without social technology, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
wow, that's cool. Looking at everything you do, Neil, it's really overwhelming, and it kind of like creates this impression that you must have like tons of people working for you. And I often actually get this from B2B companies telling me, hey, Ben, is like, yeah, we would like to do more in social, but we just don't have the resources. We can't be bothered. So how does your team structure look like?
Well, surprisingly enough, it's a very small team. We do get a little bit of agency support, but most of all of our social and all of our campaigns, we all do it. There's myself and 3 other folks on my team. Very good team, very proud of the team. Gentleman Mark Ermos does all of our video work, he's very talented, does an excellent job. Lauren McGurk runs all of our, day-to-day social posting and things like that. And then Jim McNamara does our content, our writing, things like that. So yeah, just an excellent team. When you go to someone, to our executive level folks and say, hey, we're gonna do VR, and this is how we're going to put this new transmission out into the marketplace. You know, it would be very easy for them to throw their hands up and go, wait a minute, that's too risky. We don't really know how that's going to go over. You know, what if people don't really get it? They enable us to take, you know, some risks. And so far, knock on wood, we've been able to deliver, and it's been well received. And it is exciting just to be in a culture and an environment, in a corporation, you know, as big as Mack, to have that flexibility, to be able to move like that.
You had to give one single piece of advice to a B2B marketing director who is still sort of like unsure that social media can really contribute to the sales of the company. What would that be?
It's as simple as just to do it. With the truck, it's a very, very planned and thought out business expense. And the buying cycles are very long, and you want them to have some contact with Mack and to stay involved in what we're doing over that period of time. And I don't know of a better way to do that than to get them on our Facebook page and, you know, and see the things that we're doing. And it's not, of course, always sell product, you know, on social. It's events, it's Mack culture, it's Mack stories, it's videos. It's showing people that you care. It's putting yourself out there. It's making yourself available. And I think people connect with that. And that's kind of that personal friendships and relationships that, you know, I myself have made with drivers and owner operators on Twitter. And they've become not only advocates for Mack, but, you know, I can ask them, hey, you know, we're thinking about doing this. What do you think? So it gives the brand a sounding board to be able to go to someone who is, you know, who's out there working and using the product. You know, I just don't think you can put, I think the risk of not doing it or trying to put a dollar figure on that, it's invaluable relationships and invaluable information.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Neil. That was phenomenal. Really, really good insights of how you're making social media success for Mack. And I guess this is going to be great input for loads of our listeners also to learn from that and take this leap of faith going into social media as a B2B business.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Appreciate you having me.